is a huge lack of diversity in the NFL front offices, whether it be ownership or whether it be general manager. Do you think that the public reflection of that hurts the way that the league is perceived from a management standpoint?
I think it was brought to light this last draft. I don't think it was really in the forefront of a lot of people's minds before. Now that it was shown by how the draft was conducted, I think people are starting to question and raise their eyebrows and say, hey, why is that? And I think one of the things that I've always said, and the last couple interviews that I brought, one of the ways to counteract that is exposure. It's exposure. And then the lack of exposure is what's really affecting people of color and minorities of getting that chance to move up the ladder. You need to have some type of situation where people like presidents or GMs or owners sit with minority candidates in a non-interview situation so they can get to know these people. Even if you're not in the market of hiring somebody right now, it gets you exposed to those people. So down the road, someone may call you and say, hey, I'm looking for a new director of player personnel or assistant GM. You got anybody out there? Yes, I was sitting with this guy for about 30 minutes and he broke it down and I think you need to talk to him. Or, hey, I just lost the director of player personnel or assistant GM. I remember sitting down with this candidate. Let me bring him in. So the exposure and being able to come in on a level playing field where you have just as much opportunity to get this job as the next person, I think that's how we further this cause.
But how do you get those candidates or how do you get those guys in those rooms or in front of those people making the hiring decisions or that has the ear of the team president, that has the ear of the owner? Is it a symposium? Is it some type of – okay.
Yeah. The NFL, they did it before, and that's how I'll give you a short story. That's how I got my chance to be a GM. There was a master's education program in Stanford that the NFL put on for personnel execs and executives of all other business aspects in a team front office. And we sat there and we had group sessions where we worked together. And in my group was Russ Brandon, who ended up being the president of the Buffalo Bills. So he understood, he worked with me. He saw how I communicated with cross business people, how I was able to work with people outside of the personnel department. And he saw how I put an emphasis on efficiency. So when he got the president job, he hired Buddy Nix as the GM, and Buddy was looking for his assistant GM. And guess what? Russ said, hey, I want to expose you to this Doug Whaley. I said, I've worked with him. I think you can determine his personnel evaluation skills, but I know his inner working skills with different departments in this organization. It would be a nice fit. And that's how people can get exposed and have that chance to move up. It's just symposiums, and the NFL needs to take a step. Along with this Rooney Rule addition, they need to start having – there's plenty of NFL events.
Do you like that? Do you like that compensation of draft picks for the Rooney Rule?
No, I don't. I struggle with when you start tying compensation to doing the right thing.
Right.
That's a mad message, and they're always talking about the shield, the shield, the shield. Do you want the shield to represent something like that? I struggle with that immensely.
Yeah, I don't like that notion, because I don't think if I were in your shoes, I'd want to be in that position. I'd want to have an opportunity for the job because my experience has gotten me there. I mean, as you started, Doug, your career, and you could just give us a quick, thumbnail on it. I mean, you started and you had to work all the way up. I mean, explain that.
I started as an intern, and then from an intern, an area scout, to a pro coordinator, to assistant GM, to the GM. And the reason I firmly believe you need to work yourself that way is because you got to learn the ins and outs of the job. You got to learn what you can and cannot ask of a person of that job, and then also be able to determine what is good work and what is not good work. So starting from the bottom going up is the best way to do it, because the higher you get up, the least you're actually doing of the work that got you there. You're more managing. Mm-hmm. So you need to be able to take your experiences and the information given you from people working under you to make decisions. So I think hard work and not skipping, going not skipping steps, going from A to Z instead of from going to A to M to Z is the best way to have a chance to be successful.